few that are still in. We're getting this down pretty well. A couple things I want to tell you while the last few are checking in here. What we have to have you do is, like when you make a motion like you did before, we can usually catch the first person, but whoever makes the second, just say, seconded by Supervisor so-and-so, because that's the way they can catch it. Otherwise, they don't, whomever, Supervisor Gabbert or whoever seconds it right away, just say your name and go from there. Or Supervisor Stafford, because otherwise they're not catching the second name on it. So that's fine, but you got to say your name so they can pick it up. Okay, if we can stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay standing.
Supervisor Powers.
Creator of all things, lover of all humankind, bless all schools, colleges, and universities, especially all institutions of higher learning in Wisconsin in general and in Winnebago County specifically, that they may be lively centers for sound learning, new discovery, and the pursuit of wisdom, and grant that those who teach and those who learn may find the source of all truth. Amen. Thank you.
Communications from the county clerk.
All right. My first item is just all of your mics are standing straight up, so it's helping me to make sure that I have them on when you wish to speak. So if you're wondering why, that's the reason. Tonight I have a thank you from Alex Varick. I am sincerely grateful for the honor of receiving the Winnebago County Board Scholarship for college. I have recently completed my freshman year orientation, and my excitement for this upcoming year is immeasurable. Thank you for investing in my future, as this scholarship will go a long way towards my desire to become a mechanical engineer. Best regards, Alex Varick. Then we have a thank you from the City of Menasha. Dear Winnebago County Board Supervisors, the City of Menasha Common Council and staff are grateful for your continued support through the Winnebago County ARPA Funds program. Specifically, Menasha writes to thank you for your contributions to our safety enhancement efforts at community gatherings. This is accomplished through the purchase of Meridian barricades, an invaluable tool for ensuring the protection of residents and visitors during celebratory events. This purchase would be impossible without your generous support. Community connectivity and welfare are important values in the City of Menasha. In this sesquicentennial year, we are fortunate to see many events designed to bring people together to celebrate our vibrant community. Keeping residents and visitors safe during these celebrations remains a critical priority to the Menasha Police Department and City Administration. For these reasons, your significant gift of $184,021.84 meaningfully speaks to our community's broader goals. Your work is highly valued in the City of Menasha. Thank you for your continued support and generosity. Then we have two notices of claims tonight that both of them will be referred to the Personnel and Finance Committee. The first one is from Philip E. Burton Jr. involving an incident at the Winnebago County Jail. The second is a notice of claim from Solomon Newell. He was involved in an accident in the Human Services Department parking lot. We have 2 zoning petitions that will both be referred to the Planning and Zoning Department, or Committee. The first one is from William Brennan Jr. and Brian and Rebecca Morden in the town of Winnebago to rezone from A2 to R1A residential district. And then the second one is from Michael Palmer. It is in the town of Winnebago to rezone from A2 to R1A. And that's it. Now, excuse me, we will have an update on with the Civics Plus program and the voting. We have added a button on your screens that's going to help with that, and we've invited some Civic Plus employees to explain it for us.
Thank you so much. Are you able to hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Are you able to hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, first off, thank you for inviting us to come aboard here and to share this information with you. We do want to first share our apologies for the inconvenience that you've experienced with some of the voting problems with the software. We are hard at work to make sure that those are a thing of the past, but right now we still do have some background work we are doing to make sure the product is completely stable in that function. As a somewhat of a workaround, but a temporary solution for you folks, we have enabled a button on the board portal for you. In the event that you do not receive a vote, you should be able to press this button and you can actually manually have the pop-up appear to cast your vote. So I'm going to show you an example here real quick. You should all be joined to the meeting. If you're not, you'll be logged in, get logged into the meeting. You'll see up here in the top left, there is this e-vote button. And this e-vote button, if there is an active vote and you do not receive that pop-up, it will present the pop-up on your screen to cast your vote. It's kind of like a stopgap almost for if there was a little bit of miscommunication within the system, it will give you that option to cast your vote. If you press it when there is not currently a vote, you'll just get a message that there's no ongoing vote. So you'll see this little error message, there's not a vote you can cast. And that's a little difficult for me to exactly present what exactly it looks like because we can't perfectly mimic the error. But what I'm going to do to show you kind of what it looks like, I'm going to log out of this meeting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a vote on the meeting. So that meeting's going on, and it still says that I can vote because I haven't the meeting. I was still joined. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to log all the way out here. I'm going to cancel this vote. And what we'll do is I will go back to my board portal. And now if I reset the vote and restart, and set myself as not here, when I start the vote, I won't get it because I'm not logged in. So that's kind of mimicking how it happens. If I join the meeting, present and voting, say, and hit e-vote, it'll say that I was absent, so I won't be able to join. But if I reset this again, start the vote, again, I will get that option to vote. If it doesn't appear, you will have the option to hit e-vote and present that vote to you. The only other thing that I do want to mention is if you are just viewing information in the packet and you are on the view where you see the full screen, you do not have the e-vote button on this view. You would want to navigate back to this page to hit the e-vote button to submit that vote. And that's all I really wanted to share. Just a really quick kind of, again, like a backup option for you folks. If you do not get that pop-up, the e-vote button will present that pop-up for you. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Looks like you must have done a good job. Whoops, Conley. Supervisor Hanson.
Just in case, my eyes are old and my glasses are new, but I still can't see what you just did from where I'm sitting. Is there any way we can do a mock vote on our screens right now?
leave that up to the teams there, if they want to go ahead and do that.
If it can't be done, it can't be done. It's not a big deal. We'll just deal with it when it happens. That's okay.
And it's not your old eyes.
So this will be just a mock one now they're going to do.
Knowing our luck, it will all appear for you just fine. The button isn't needed, but certainly there, if it is.
See? No one,
Oh, you already voted? You did.
are we supposed to vote?
So he hit e-vote.
Yep, click the e-vote button to force the vote.
Okay.
Mine come right up, I didn't
Yeah,
do that.
if it didn't come up, click the button on the top left, e-vote, and then you'll get your vote button.
So that added to the old ones and new tricks doesn't apply. Nice.
If it came up automatically, you have to press it and save.
Everyone got it? Very easy.
Make sure you hit save.
Any other questions?
Well, we're missing a couple people. So, Vince, Hans, or Marco, just hit save. Probably.
Did you hit save after you voted?
So are we voting?
We voted.
I make the motion that we acknowledge Winning County as one of the better communities in Winnebago.
This is already gone, it was on.
Everybody vote.
Does that fail for lack of a second?
Doug to hit save. Go and hit save.
Oh, gotcha. Thought it'd be a unanimous vote.
Everybody? Any other questions? Otherwise, they had everyone show up. Not seeing any other questions, we thank you very much for the presentation tonight. Reports from committees, commissions, and boards. Push that.
Yeah, the details.
Yep, I hit the details button.
You're not back. You're back now. Hit it again. Now call speakers.
There you go. Supervisor Hancock Cook.
Excuse me, Egan, I wanted to mention that on July 27th, I was able to go to the Neenah Farmers Market and have a table for the Winnebago County Supervisors, me, and I wanted to thank the Office of the Executive for giving me loot to hand out. Lots of pens were given out that said Winnebago County. And I wanted to point out that I used that opportunity to speak to constituents about the budget as it comes up in the next couple months. We had, I know we're supposed to give some input, and I had no idea what my constituents would possibly want us to be spending our money on. There were 6 categories that were provided to us in April or early May, as I recall. The categories were safety and security, dependable and reliable infrastructure, access to basic needs, environmental and water quality, community and economic development, and effective and efficient administration. I had a series of glass jars. I gave everybody 3 pennies and said, how do you want me to spend your millions of dollars at the county board? And everybody got 3 votes to select from in those 6 buckets. And the overwhelming winner was the environmental and water quality with 62 votes. The least interested, people were least interested in efficient and effective administration. I will be providing this data to you guys just so you can see. I did have 67 total respondents, which was a whole lot more than I thought I would have. And I know it's certainly not a scientific cross-section of the community of Neenah. I just wanted to share the info with you as we were going into the September-October timeframe for the budgets. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The task force on rules is rolling along at a pretty good clip. We had great discussion on section 0, 1, and 2. And we will be finalizing those discussions at the next meeting, which is Monday at 4:30, room 120 at the Albrecht Building. We will also be discussing section 3 and section 9, which is definitions. I would encourage any supervisor to please attend or send correspondence that you would like to weigh in on. Thank you.
Supervisor Schellinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would just like to invite folks to attend the Parkview Center Health Center Committee meeting on September 19th at 3:30 p.m. at the Coughlin Center, or of course on the internet. We will be getting a report from Baker Tilly about the facility at Parkview. That will begin, I'm sure, a series of discussions about the future of that facility. So anybody who's interested, I would encourage you to tune in or attend on September 19th at 3:30 p.m. Thank you.
Supervisor Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fox Cities Campus trustees will hold a meeting next Monday, August 26th, 1 p.m. at the Fox Cities campus on Midway Boulevard, Menasha. I believe it's Boulevard. Room 1553. Thank you.
Supervisor Bender.
Last month, I got the opportunity to attend a NACO convention, and one of the presentations that we had there was on low-income senior and veterans housing, and I would like to see something like that in Winnebago County. One of the counties, they built tiny houses like we kind of have that tiny house village, and they built something like that. Another county took a old commercial building and turned it into apartments. Either one would be fine. I know we got like $3 million worth of interest money on the ARPA fund. If the county exec could find somebody to partner with and we could build that and pay cash for that, I think we could basically charge a low rent, but it would be sustainable to cover all expenses. So in the future, the building would basically pay for itself. The rent would basically cover future repairs and the cost of the operations. And I think it would be an asset to Winnebago County. And tomorrow at 2:30 to 4:30, Parkview has their annual car show. I signed up. They got over 50 cars coming, classic cars. If you're not doing nothing, it's supposed to be a beautiful day. I'd invite you all to stop out to Parkview and take in the car show.
Supervisor Albert. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, may I go back to add to Tom Swan's report?
You may.
The UW Oshkosh Fox Cities Campus Board of Trustees. I serve on that committee too, and the campus is actually in my district. I live 1 mile away. Two items to bring to everybody's attention. Number one, different groups are starting to organize, trying to gain public opinion, public understanding and support for the future pathways of this campus. And one group is a group of people called North Star. They are people interested in astronomy, and they have been linked to the Barlow Planetarium since 1986. They have approximately 7 members. The president of this organization, North Star, at our meeting next week will be issuing an open letter stating their very firm support for the continued operation of the Barlow Planetarium, and his name is Rick Beal. The second item I'd like to bring to everyone's attention, you have a copy of it on your desk. It's a key item published by the Capital Times, the Cap Times in Madison last week, and its editorial favoring and supporting these 2-year branch branch campuses and opposing the closing of any more of these branch campuses across the state. So thank you.
Supervisor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to report that we had our annual, on August 10th, we had our annual wheelchair wash that was founded by late Supervisor Mike Norton. Former Supervisor Julie Gordon was speaking to a couple of ladies who were sitting at chairs and enjoying the music, and they didn't have anyone in wheelchairs. They said they only came to enjoy the camaraderie, enjoy the music, and they appreciated the fact that Winnebago County, in particular, and the ADRC, was sponsoring this wheelchair wash. I'm sorry, I think we had about 12 to 15 wheelchairs that we took care of, and we had a number of current and former supervisors, as well as the county executive who was there and helped with washing up chairs. So thanks to everybody who participated, and we'll be doing it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Hintz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say we're coming off of a big month for my district, 21, because EA set a new record this year for attendance, and we also had one of our taverns that's in the area that debuted out there as one of the top food vendors that's ever in their first year with the business out there with Pete's Garage Bar. And I also wanted to thank Ethan and John for an outstanding county employee appreciation event that only a handful of us saw last week. It would have been nice to have seen more of you out there. Thanks.
Anyone else that we missed? Okay, next is the adoption of the agenda. Now, before we go into this, I know I keep saying you don't have to, but I know there's at least one for sure, if not two, that has something that they want pulled before this adoption of the agenda. So if you wish to speak on it, just Super Hancock Cook.
Thank you, Chairman. I wanted to amend, or I have a motion to amend the proceedings to strike the second sentence from the paragraph in public appearances where Mr. Shikuski was taught what was said. Mr. Shikuski is a candidate running for State Assembly District 53, and he read a statement recommending that individuals vote no on the two constitutional amendments on the August partisan primary ballot. That was what the purpose of his attendance, and that wasn't mentioned in the meeting notes. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. He wasn't here advertising his candidacy.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if we can amend the minutes to reflect that. So I guess I would make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect that.
Second, Powers.
We have a motion made and seconded. Is there any objections?
Point of order, don't we have to pull that and do it separately?
We can.
Okay. So would I make a motion to pull the
We
minutes from
just,
the...
that would talk about next. In other words, that would just come out next because we have another one.
Thank you.
So that'll be the next thing.
Thanks for the help.
Supervisor Howard Miller. And to make sure I get the right Miller, that's why I had to say Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to pull items 2 and 3 from the consent agenda.
Okay. Anyone else? Pardon? 2 and 3, you want to pull? Yes.
This, right, 2, right?
No, this one, number 2 and
Yes.
number 3.
What about 5? This was supposed to be yes, but it's referenced as no.
It was corrected here.
Okay, so you're set with that.
As this is amended, this is correct.
Okay, so you only want 2 and 3. Okay.
and 3? Okay, so first, so we'll do the adoption of the agenda then, before we do that. Okay, so we'll need a motion to adopt this evening's agenda with the exception of the correction of the minutes. That we'll go back on that, and also 2 and 3 from planning and zoning. Seconded by Hanson. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried. So at this time, we'll go back with the correction of the minutes. Supervisor Hancock Cook. Turn her mic on. Turn her mic on.
The statement in the agenda, to modify,
If I ask it, you said yes.
amend the minutes and do I have to say what that is right now? So would like to make a motion to amend the minutes.
In the public comment section?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And is that, in the public comment section, I would like the minutes to reflect, to strike the second sentence under Dwayne Szykusky and to have it say that Mr. Szykusky, a candidate running for State Assembly District 53, read a statement recommending individuals to vote no on the 2 constitutional amendments on the August partisan primary ballot.
I would need a second.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
The correction would be Mr. Szykusky, a candidate running for State Assembly District 53, read a statement recommending individuals to vote no on the 2 constitutional amendments on the August partisan primary ballot.
Correct. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify, whoops, I'm sorry. Supervisor Patterson.
Well, I would like to strike the fact that we're actually highlighting the fact that he's running for office. I don't feel that that's appropriate, nor is this the actual venue that we should be announcing such things. We are not a campaign platform here. So I would like to have that part removed from the statement as well.
We're not really, you can't add or subtract something like that because that was stated. What she's doing is anything that was in there. We can't just say, well, he's running for candidate, so we can't just strike that part, because that was said in the actual minutes.
Right. And she did mention previously that there was not the intent, but that was actually the result.
Okay.
Personally, I think the whole thing should be struck.
So, any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Carried. Okay, now we'll go back and we'll do public comment, and then I'll come back and do 1 and 2. Public comment at this time. Anyone wishing to speak to the board on anything from Winnebago County will have 2 minutes to speak to anything on what they would like that pertains to Winnebago County to the board. Anyone? Anyone at all? Not seeing any, we'll move right on. Oh, you got one on Zoom? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Again.
Okay, great. Just so you know, you are all very muddled on this application, so I hope I am not muddled as well, but I will continue. Name is Katie Campbell, 614 Smallview Avenue. I just want to kind of highlight and draw to your attention that I noticed that many committees were canceled in August, particularly Personnel and Finance and JPS, Board of Health, and I understand it's summer, and I understand respectfully that obviously these things happen and sometimes committees cannot meet. I just do not remember the last time when JPS had not met specifically. And it's just somewhat concerning, especially now that you guys are obviously getting a salary, and obviously there's been a lot of leadership moves with committees, chairmen, etc. And I would just hope that these committees, keep in mind the importance of meetings, especially important committees like JPS, the importance of allowing the public to speak. And I hope that there's good reason, whether it's not having a quorum, but if it's just simply canceling and that decision is between the chairman and the board chairman, that's concerning to me. So just wanted to raise this, that this has been noted, kind of keeping track of this, and I hope that this does not continue moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that the only one? All right. We're moving right along. Did we go back into 1 and 2 now? County Executives Report.
All right. Well, I'm here to answer any questions, anything that is on the agenda that you want to talk about. But the one thing that is on the agenda that I want to highlight is that hopefully our search for a director of administration comes to a close tonight with the confirmation of Jamie Rauch, who is here. It has been a long search to find the right candidate for this. I think you all got my letter. I am thrilled that she has at least accepted the position to get us this far for a confirmation tonight. And if it's okay with the chair, I'd like to invite her up during my executive report, where I think it would be appropriate for anybody to have questions or a comment for her. We are getting her from Branson, Missouri, and now the challenge is to find her a house in this market. So that'll be a big challenge. But I am absolutely thrilled that we are at least to this point. Being as somebody who has not only been through priority-based budgeting, who has been through Resource X and understands how that plays a part, that she is well-versed in Tyler Enterprise, considering that we have just recently gotten our upgrades from 5 versions behind. We're hoping to learn a lot. She has served in many levels for GFOA best standards. We're excited for that. And Branson, Missouri is a little special for economic development. So if you think about Branson, Missouri, it's like Missouri's version of the Wisconsin Dells. They have to figure out infrastructure for millions of visitors with a population of 12,000 residential. So to figure out that is I'm really interested in picking her brain and how can the county be more intentional of how we assist economic development and do a little bit better than what seems to be 1.04% net new construction, which makes it really tough come budget time. So with that, if it's okay with you, I'd like to invite Jamie Rauch. Rauch like couch. Names are important, and I said a lot of people call me Domel, so I wanted to make sure we get it right. And with that, I'd like Jamie to just introduce herself and open up.
Thank you all for having me. Like he said, my name is Jamie Rauch, and I come from Branson, Missouri. I was there as their director of finance for 14 years. I was also heavily involved in economic development, capital projects, procurement, and all of that stuff, and it is my passion. I am a mom. I have 3 children and 3 dogs, so I'm a dog mom too. That's important because that's one of the reasons why I'm struggling finding a house. But I'm also, you'll be able to detect this pretty quick, I'm from Eastern Texas, and so you'll hear that sometimes come out when I speak, and that's okay. We're good. So I am here to answer any questions that you may have of me. I'm really thankful to be here. We absolutely fell in love with it the first time we came up. It's absolutely beautiful. Not just the weather. We have a lot of humidity. Y'all might have that, but we haven't experienced that so far. But It was absolutely beautiful, and everyone was absolutely so kind to us, and that's something that is maybe unique. I was blown out of the water, so thank you all, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you. With your permission, may I call you Jamie?
You may, absolutely.
Jamie, welcome to Winnebago County. Welcome to possibly this position. It was great going over the letters of recommendation and your resume and the notes from our county executive. What I'm curious to know is what your resume and the letters didn't say. I'd really like to know what brought you or what attracted you most to Winnebago County.
Well, I tell you, I was my family is in a transition period. My daughter just graduated high school, my middle daughter, and so I have a son going into junior high. So we were in a transition. I was working for a large city, City of Independence, which is a suburb of Kansas City, remotely, and so my husband was a teacher. He's been a teacher at a Christian school for 7 years. And so we were in that position to move. And when I got the call, we were like, well, Wisconsin. Honestly, that was not ever a place that we had thought about before, but why not, right? So why not? And I had several interviews. I had them in Texas and Kansas City and several places, but to be quite honest, this place was so inviting and so friendly, and like I said, I have a son, and he's going into junior high, and that's incredibly important to me to make sure that we find the right place and the right environment for my son, not just us. So that is why. And we came up here when we got into town and was like, oh, this is Wisconsin. I don't know too much about Wisconsin because I'm from the South, so. But my husband and my son fell instantly in love with it, and that was extremely important to me. And then when I got in and I started doing the interviews, it was really apparent to me that I believe this is where the Lord really wanted us, so that's why we're here.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
You're welcome.
I look forward to welcoming you to Winnebago County and working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Frisetto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll go along with your last comment, Supervisor Hanson, by welcoming you here as well.
Thank you.
And hopefully you will be confirmed by this board. But since my other colleague on the other side likes to tout the village or the sovereign state of Winnie County, I'm here to tell you that Black Wolf, bordering Lake Winnebago and to the south, is an excellent community, and we have lots of space for homes, and there are homes for sale on the lake.
Duly noted.
So I would invite you. Oh, and by the way, we have an ordinance that allows 3 dogs.
That is great to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As someone who lived in the Diocese of West Missouri for 7 years, and since you know Independence, you might know where Excelsior Springs is.
I do.
I lived in Excelsior Springs for 7 years. It was in the mid-'70s. It was before Branson was really Branson. And it was just a very nice little town that had a couple little shops when I first visited it. And it has grown exponentially. It's probably bigger than what Door County is. It really is a unique place. So I have no advice, just welcome, and I'm glad to see another person from Missouri. Thanks.
Thank you.
Supervisor Hanson, did you wish to speak again? I got your name up here twice, so that's okay. Okay. Supervisor Nelson.
Just to clarify for the supervisor from Black Wolf, where did you go to watch the fireworks on July 4th when you were visiting Winnebago County?
We were in Winneconne, and I believe on your boat, so thank you so much. We're staying in Winneconne right now, and we like it.
Supervisor Albert.
Looking at your resume, 2 areas struck me as being very positive and showing remarkable leadership, and that is your board membership, professional associations, and affiliations. Say a word about your experience leading these associations, and what is your intention about doing so here in Wisconsin and the Midwest?
Sure, absolutely. So the GFOA is the Government Finance Officers Association. Many of you might know that. I had the privilege of being the president of our local chapter for more than 3 years. And what that entails is everybody in the southwest, Missouri region, all of the cities and the counties are a part of that local chapter. So I was able to be the president of that for more than 3 years. I also sat on the State of Missouri board for the GFOA as well for many years, and we got to be the leader basically for all of the cities and the counties in the area for the Government Finance Officers Association. I was also a representative for the national GFOA, and not to tout myself at all, but I was asked to speak about 2019 by the national GFOA on tourism and economics. And I got to speak, we went to Los Angeles there, and I got to speak for many, many people there regarding our tourism and what we did with economic development and those kind of things. So it is a privilege. I've also attended many of our sessions at the Capitol, State of Missouri, on behalf of the finance directors there. Many times there was into question our sales tax or even our tourism tax, and sometimes there would be a question about, well, let's do away with this or let's do away with that. But in the event of them trying to do away with one of those things, it would definitely hurt Branson, and it would hurt our income as well as many of the tourism cities in the state of Missouri. So I did have the opportunity to go before the Capitol in the Ways and Means sessions and speak on our behalf and on the behalf of many of the finance directors in the state of Missouri for that. And that gave me quite a bit of experience on maybe what to do and sometimes what not to do. But I really enjoyed that, and I look forward to getting to be a part of it here.
Yes.
And one of the first things I'll do is, really dive into the state laws, the local laws, and learn strengths and weaknesses and how we can lead better there.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Anyone that I missed? If not? Okay. Yes, sir.
Jamie, very impressed with your resume.
Thank you.
It touches on strategy and budgeting. Maybe comment on how the two come together in your experience, because I think it's important for us. And since we're doing economic development, don't forget the town of Clayton. We have a beautiful, beautiful Neenah High School. Great time to grow into it, brand new. So I'll let you comment on strategy and budgeting.
Certainly. I think, especially since y'all are engaging into priority-based budgeting, I think that's a really good question. So strategic plan is incredibly important for the budget. I think one of the things that we just should always keep in mind is the strategic plan and how it's developed. It's developed by the community, the county, the leaders, by our constituents telling us what's important, what's our plan for our city and moving forward. That's what we should take from that, and then we should gear our budget towards how can we accomplish our strategic plan. So then every 3 to 5 or 10 years, however often that you update that strategic plan, you can go back and say, okay, we spent this much money accomplishing this item, this item, this item, and this item. Now we can move forward and move our county forward into the next phase of what our constituents tell us we need to. So I think it's step one is your strategic plan, and then you really gear your budget towards that. And I think that's what priority-based budgeting is all about. Priority-based budgeting is a budgeting concept, knowing that you still have to maintain your line items for that big old budget book that GFOA says that we have to keep. It's really, really important that your priorities are in line and that they come from your strategic plan. And once you have your priorities in line, then you can know better, yes, we're achieving the goals that our county and our community has told us important.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Supervisor Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jamie, thanks for appearing tonight. You mentioned priority-based budgeting several times. Have you used this budgeting tool and actually achieved solvency through its use?
Yes, sir, we did. We were the first city in the state of Missouri to implement priority-based budgeting. And so I was given the opportunity not only to dive into it and to help back when they were first starting. And so this has been probably 2012, 2013 when we first got involved. But because we were involved on the front end, we were able to help really build that and go into other cities and communities and speak on the behalf of priority-based budgeting. And I'll just give you a little background, if you don't mind, if you have time for that.
Go ahead.
Just a little bit of background there. The city manager came to us and said, we had a large tornado in Branson. I know I talk fast, but I'll try to be really quick. But we had a large tornado in Branson, and we were struggling, and because of our tourism, and a lot of our venues were struck in some way, shape, or form. And he said, Jamie, I really need you to come up with a better plan for budgeting. And back then we were, okay, here's what we have as our line item, let's increase it by 3% or 5%, and that simply doesn't work anymore, my opinion. But so he said, I need you to really research and come up with something that we can give back to our community that will really work and help grow our tourism. And so we did our research, and we went to Chicago, and that's where we learned about, back then it was called budgeting for outcomes, but we really learned about, okay, how can we tell our constituents and how can we make it important that their voices are being heard and that we are applying the money that they're giving us, we are applying that back to what they want accomplished. And so we learned all about budgeting for outcomes, and then we brought it back and we did a request for proposal. And when we did a request for proposal, that's where we found the PBB folks, Chris Fabian and his group. And we really kicked it off. And one of the first things was our inventory and being able to say, these are all the programs that Branson accomplishes. These are all the programs that we do, and this is how much each program costs. And so that was the first picture, because I really believe that your finance and your budget really just tells a story about who you are. And so that's really the first thing that we did, and we moved on. And one of the first things was our chief of police came to us, and when he was able to see all of his programs and what he did, he was able to do a contract with the county at the time for jail services, because we were spending a whole lot of money on food and for prisoners and those kind of things. And he was like, our county just built a big, beautiful jail. Why don't we contract with them? And we did that, and it was like $45 a prisoner for them to take them on. And it saved us $250,000 a year in public safety. But I think the biggest thing to understand is it helps the directors be able to use their professional expertise in whichever department they're leading to say, okay, we don't need to do this anymore because, one, we don't even know why we're doing this, because we might have always done it just because it's always been done. Let's ask the question, why are we doing it, and does it fulfill what our constituents want us to fulfill? If the answer is no, then let's take that money that we're spending on this, let's do away with this, take that money and apply it to something that does need to be done. And so we're in a time where inflation is high and it's not easy to come by new monies. Let's figure out a way to free up some money to put it towards moving forward, instead of just doing always what we've always done.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I might just follow up quickly.
Okay.
Jamie, you've taken a look at our budget, I would hope at this point, our prior budget. Is there anything in the structure that you've seen in our budget that jumps out at you that, may require change or improvement?
Well, if I might, I have looked at your budget, but before I answer that, I'd like to take a deeper dive and meet with everybody once y'all approve of me, hopefully, and then I can better answer that question.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anyone I missed that didn't call in or anything? Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Rush, for coming today. I'm just curious, a number of times when you were talking about priority-based budgeting, which is very a great interest to me, how did you decide what the constituents wanted? How, did you do focus groups? Did you do surveys? What methodology? Or did we just sort of assume that we knew what the people wanted?
No, we had a community plan, and that our community plan was made up of focus groups in the beginning, made up of focus groups from our constituents. And so that's where that community plan was built, and they represented the majority of our community, and they told us, this is what our community plan is, this is what we want to see accomplished. From there, that's where we developed our big rocks, is what I call them. And then from there is how we defined what our big rocks were, the big things that we wanted to see accomplished: public safety, tourism, economic development, those kind of things. We were able to define them, and then from there, we were able to put our dollars to it.
Okay, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and answering our questions and telling us a little more about your background. When you talk about big rocks, you piqued my curiosity and, of course, my areas of interest. Having been a strategic person throughout my career and now trying to think about this from the standpoint of the county, I'm very interested in what you just said. And my question, I think, is for both of you, because I've had difficulty with the strategic plan and providing input myself, because I'm representing a lot of people and a lot of people's interests. And typically, when I've been responsible for a strategic plan, I'm gathering constituent feedback along the way and helping them create, actually share back what I'm hearing and how I think it's going to look for them. And I don't feel like I have that picture yet, not just for my constituents, but for all of our constituents, so that we can see that picture together. So I guess the question is for both of you, how do you go about doing that midstream at this point?
You're right. I've been in a lot of organizations where we've done that. I've never joined an organization that never had one. And that is where we started. We started off with nothing. I don't believe it was a unanimous vote for a strategic plan, right? There was a lot of questions about it, a lot of, this is something funky, I'm not really sure what this is, but it's really important.
Absolutely.
And, you know, one of my struggles was trying to, how do we get more engagement? I believe out of 36 supervisors, plus 13 since the new election, I think 18 responses is all we received. So at some point, all right, you have to get something and put it on paper just to show a basics of what it is. And then again, when we revisit it in 3 years or 5 years, whatever we would determine, then we can really get into that a little bit more. And where I landed was, let's just show them what a strategic plan could be. I think we landed on some pretty safe priorities. Just so people can get the feel of it. And sometimes you got to wade in the water before you dive in. So yes, in the future, absolutely, as many kind of input groups and stuff that we can get just to make sure that people know what they feel. Especially when we're talking about over 170,000 citizens that we have to take into account.
Absolutely.
That the city of Oshkosh, the county seat, matters. A person there's opinion is just as important as somebody out in Nepeuskin. And so we have all these different regions that we have to figure out together what our priorities are and how do we work together. How do we build that brand? And the strategic plan is how to do it. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, all I want to say is before the vote's taken, is we want to thank you for coming and interviewing. I did enjoy interviewing with you very much. It was very pleasurable. John and I think both really enjoyed it, and I think that's why you're being highly recommended. So at this time, the floor is open for a motion to go ahead and accept her.
Before winter comes.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? You be in the office tomorrow morning.
All right, I have 2 more appointments to make tonight. Yep. You let me know when I'm ready.
Right.
Okay. Just want to take this moment to say thank you all. We're good? Okay. Board of Adjustment, Mr. Thomas Tutchell of the town of Amro, reappointed to a term expiring June 30th of 2027, and Mr. Jim Hanneman of the town of Poygan to a term expiring June 30th of 2027.
Motion made and second for approval of them named, mentioned. All those in favor signify by say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alls I have is I have quite a few that are missing tonight. Supervisor Harrison, Buck, Lutz, Halber, and then I got a good one, just, I shouldn't say a good one, but I'm happy for him, right at, sitting in this chair tonight before the meeting started, is Supervisor, I can't even think of his name, Josh Belleville. Josh, I could think of. Belleville, staying home with his wife and new baby girl tonight, so he's taking off this weekend too, so don't plan if you're getting your bones cracked or anything there, so. Okay. Now, where was it? Consent calendar. I think we did that once already, but there's 6 missing. Do we have to prove it again? Okay. Right. So now we're just voting on what's in there yet. I called it before, I think, and I got ahead of myself. So what we won't be doing is, but we did vote on what Hancock Cook had. We took hers out, right, for hers. Right, okay.
Yeah, so 2 and 3 are out, and then everything else.
So all we will have left is 2 and 3 are being pulled yet. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda with the exception of 2 and 3? Second? Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried. Now we'll go to 2. Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion to deny the zoning request 06001.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Miller.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me give you some background on this particular item. First of all, this item was denied by the town of Black Wolf to begin with. It was also denied by our committee by a unanimous vote. The reason being is that to rezone this property from R1 to A2 would be, first of all, it's contrary to the town of Black Wolf zoning regulations because the property is too small. It's not consistent with the comprehensive plan. So the property owners desired to have this rezoned because the structure on it is too large for an accessory structure in an R1 district. However, the structure that's on there, originally built as a barn, has been converted into a residence and really is no longer an accessory structure. It's a residence. So that being said, leaving it at R1 is consistent with what the owners want to do. So that is the reason why it has been denied at all of these levels, and I am encouraging the county board to also deny it.
Any discussion? Not hearing any, oops. Supervisor Nussbaum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that we're voting to deny this, correct?
Yes. Any other discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. Supervisor Miller.
Okay. This report. First of all, I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Seconded by Mayor Duffy.
And the only correction that I would make on it is to say that this was approved by our committee by a vote of 3-0, not a vote of 0-0.
Discussion? We had a second by Supervisor Gabbard. Any other discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. Okay, Supervisor Fari. Vice Chairman Fari, open for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I will move to adjourn. Second, no spot.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.